Now, within the past 10 years, some of you might have been thinking Buicks have been somewhat garbage. But for 2010, this is what we have now, the all-new Lacrosse. I'm Richard P., and this is FLDetours. So the 2010 Lacrosse isn't your grandfather's Buick. There's a lot of appreciation for the finer little details in the car. There's leather on the top of the doors, on the bottom, and on the top and bottom of the dash. Powering the Lacrosse is a 3.6 liter V6, good for 280 horsepower and just about 260 pounds-feet of torque. And that's more than enough power to get you where you need to go. The problem is, though, it's to the front wheels. So you don't have a lot of traction in the wet, and it's just not very good for handling. But you have to remember, that's not what a Buick's about. It's not about taking a turn at 60 or flying past people and having a ball and the exhaust note. It's about luxury. It's about being able to cruise at 8 miles an hour quietly. And do you hear that? Exactly, you don't hear anything. It's because the car is silent as all hell. Paired with the 6-cylinder motor is a 6-speed automatic gearbox. And ironically enough, it does have a sport mode. In a Buick? Yeah, it's got a sport mode. And it shifts okay. You know, it's okay for a gearbox. It's nowhere near close to a dual clutch transmission, as you would expect, but it gets the job done and it's passable. When I first saw this car at the New York International Auto Show, I pointed out and I thought to myself, this is gonna be the next big thing for GM. And it is, because this is the revitalization of Buick as a nameplate, where it was kind of not cool, not very good looking, kind of fartsy. And now it's kind of coming into its own, and it's gonna be starting to take some new design language into the brand. Looking at the competition, you know, the Lexus ES and the Acura TL, they're pretty good cars. I mean, obviously the Acura TL is the more aggressive one of the bunch, and the Lexus is kind of the more femme version. The thing is, the Buick slots in nicely between them, but the problem is it doesn't have an all-wheel drive, top-of-the-line version. It only comes in front-wheel drive. So you have 280 horsepower going to the front wheels. That's no good. Where it makes up for that fault in the competition, though, is in sheer space. Now, in the front, there's 40-plus inches of legroom, and in the rear, there's just over 40 inches of legroom. In the rear, that's unheard of in this segment. That's like an S-Class or a 7 Series. That's unbelievable. And it's almost like a limo. Like, Derek's sitting there right now, he's got about 6 inches of clearance. You believe that?
It's true, I do.
Looking at the nav interface and the gauges, it's actually, you know, there is a lot of buttons, don't get me wrong, but once you get in the car and you kind of get familiarized, it's not that bad. Now, the nav unit is actually very easy to use. It's a touch screen, and it's very fluid. It's not laggy or anything like that. I mean, Volkswagen, I've been in a few Volkswagens lately, and their systems tend to lag a little bit. Even Mitsubishi, this system is very fluid, it's very good, and you know, it's to the point. It's very easy to use. Where GM has really stepped up their game is with matching the features of the competition. There's one-touch shades for the moonroof and the rear window. There is heated and cooled seats. There's a heated steering wheel, and there's a rear view camera. So when you're backing up, you can make sure not, when you're parking this boat, you're not going to back into a hydrant or something. It's really, you know, it shows that GM is trying really hard, and that the quality of their vehicles is stepping up substantially. Also recently announced was the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, which named the 2010 Lacrosse a top safety pick. Forget about Volvo, forget about all those European guys. This car is where it's at. Overall, the new Buick is a good car, and it shows that the company is doing the right things, and they are headed in the right direction. Now the question is, will the image be holding it back, and will it be able to stand up to the competition? Not quite sure, especially since this car doesn't have all-wheel drive on the top-of-the-line model. But we will see.